school board to order. I will now read some announcements. Welcome to the first of two public hearings on the possible closure of Columbia Elementary. This hearing is being conducted as required by and in compliance with RCW 28A 335-020 and Board Policy 6883. The board appreciates your presence this evening and would like to remind you that all public comments should adhere to the same standard of civility that the board imposes on itself. The board will exercise its authority to maintain order in a content-neutral manner this evening. This listening opportunity for the school board will be conducted as a formal hearing in a civil matter. As such, and in order to preserve as much time for speakers as possible, we will be adhering to strict rules of decorum. We ask that you refrain from clapping, cheering, booing, or approaching the board table throughout tonight's proceedings. Please also be aware that the board is not obligated to respond to questions or challenges made during public comment, and the board's silence will not signal agreement or endorsement of the speaker's remarks. Before we begin, I would like to review the guidelines for tonight. Signage, banners, and/or displays are prohibited inside Wenatchee High School before, during, and after the hearing. Speakers must complete a public comment form prior to speaking. Paper copies of the form are available at the table just outside the entrance of this room and should be given to Kim White, who's seated in the back, who will announce your name when it's your time to address the board. Speakers should not hand items to the board during this hearing. If you have documents that you wish to share with the board, please give those to Kim White following your comment. Comments will only be accepted in person. There is no virtual option for commenting tonight. However, the meeting is being live streamed for the public to view, and the recording will be available on the district's YouTube channel. The board will also accept public comments via email at board_school_board@wenatcheeschools.org. Also, comments made at our regular board meetings will be included in the public testimony the board will consider making its decision. And as you know, we do make Zoom available during regular board meetings. If you need translation services from Spanish to English, we have a certified Spanish interpreter available and seated near the podium. We also have headphones available and will translate all English-speaking public comments into Spanish. Please feel free to use one of the headsets available on the table just outside the entrance to the room. English speakers will be allowed 3 minutes of comment time, and Spanish speakers will be allowed 7 minutes to accommodate Spanish interpretation if necessary. Comments are limited to one per person. Donating time to another person so they can speak longer is prohibited. Tonight's hearing will end at 9 p.m. or when the last comment is made, whichever comes first. If time expires and you have not been able to comment, your place on the list will be preserved for the next hearing on April 18th, should you choose to attend and comment. I've been warned that the camera mic is very sensitive, so if you could keep audience noise to a minimum, the people watching at home would appreciate it. Thank you for your attention, and we'll begin this hearing with a brief presentation by Superintendent Kalahar.
Thank you, President Norton, and I will have my friend and colleague Alfonso Lopez come up with us. We'll be kind of tag teaming this presentation together, so I just want to thank everybody for being here this evening. We have a short presentation this evening, which is essentially a review of some of the reasons why we are here tonight. More importantly, this time is for all of you to share your thoughts with the board. Alfonso will be here to help with the presentation for the public hearings this evening. So to start off the slide, I might get to where I can be in a better position here. To start off, why does the district need budget reductions? And so this is a review from most of you in the room. The district is experiencing significant enrollment decline and must make budget reductions to balance our staffing with enrollment. Our enrollment decline is due to a variety of things, but most importantly, an increase in K-12 options locally, overall decrease in birth rates, and a lack of affordable housing. Districts are based on enrollment, and when enrollment declines, so do revenues. Enrollment decline has been the most significant at our elementary level. The Wenatchee School District has targeted a total reduction amount of $8 to $9 million for the upcoming school year in 24-25.
Buenas tardes a todos los que hablan español. Vamos a tratar de traducir lo que él está poniendo acá para que tengamos un conocimiento claro de qué es la situación. Esto es solamente una traducción de lo que ya él está diciendo. ¿Por qué el distrito necesita reducciones presupuestarias? ¿Cuál es la razón? Bueno, La razón es que el distrito está teniendo una disminución muy grande en que niños vengan a las escuelas a registrarse. Hay menos niños llegando a las escuelas y entonces para equilibrar ese problema obviamente que se necesita recortar en algunos aspectos económicos que se tienen. Entonces se habla de que la inscripción o la llegada de niños a las escuelas está disminuyendo. Esa es una de las razones, pero la otra es de que hay otras opciones, es decir, los niños se están distribuyendo en otras escuelas, nuevas escuelas están apareciendo, otras escuelas ya están establecidas y los niños, unos están yendo a unas escuelas y otros están yendo a otras y estamos compitiendo por esos alumnos. Entonces la disminución en el hecho de que están naciendo menos niños, en que están llegando menos niños a las escuelas, es uno de los aspectos importantes. Y también en el costo de las viviendas, ahora es más cara la renta, ahora son más caras las casas y por supuesto que eso afecta también en los fondos económicos que las escuelas obtienen. Entonces, cuando todo esto está ocurriendo, obviamente que hay menos ingresos para que llegan a las escuelas. Como deben de saber, los ingresos se obtienen de acuerdo al número de niños que vienen a las escuelas. Entre más niños vengan a las escuelas, más ingresos hay por parte del gobierno y del Estado, y de esa manera las escuelas pueden tener un poco de más dinero para hacer lo que tienen que hacer. La disminución en la llegada de los niños a las escuelas, el mayor número o el caso más importante está ocurriendo en las escuelas primarias. Es ahí donde ya están faltando niños que lleguen a las escuelas. Entonces el distrito escolar de Wenatchee se ha fijado un objetivo, y ese objetivo es reducir todos estos costos entre 8 y 9 millones para el año 24 y 25, que es el próximo año.
Did you have more to say than I did? Okay, no, that was good. Thank you, Alfonso. How will the budget reductions be made? And we have these are the categories up top. We have the grade level impacts there. We have the elementary with the proposed Columbia closure with the $2.8 million. We have our middle school schedule changes and the subsequent staffing reductions there at $2 million. Our high school schedule change at $671,000 there. And then below we have our additional staffing at $1 million. And then of course our clawback on the materials, supplies, and operating costs at $2.5 million to equal the $8 million. This is the Wenatchee School District's budget reduction proposal as it stands today.
Pues entre las reducciones que se piensan hacer está primeramente el cierre de la escuela Columbia, y si se cierra el ahorro ahí, lo que se ahorraría son 2.8 millones. También los horarios con las que las escuelas secundarias o intermedias están haciendo, ahí se va a reducir el personal con ello y ahí se van a ahorrar 2 millones de dólares. Y también en la escuela preparatoria, o lo que le llamamos la high school, ahí también ajustando el horario se va a reducir una cantidad de $671,000. Hay otros recortes adicionales en el personal del distrito escolar que se menciona aquí, y con ello se ahorraría otro $1 millón. Y también habría recortes con materiales, suministros y costos de operación para que las escuelas funcionen, y ahí se reduciría en $2,5 millones. Es decir, un total de $8,9 millones se reduciría con esta propuesta.
Excellent, thank you, Alfonso. And so the slide, why Columbia, which we have shared in the past, but these are important for us to share this evening. Columbia is the second smallest school in our district with the second smallest staff. Over the past 8 years, Columbia has experienced a decline in enrollment by 26.5%, which has resulted in many open classrooms that are currently used for non-grade level purposes with small class sizes. Our schools, Lincoln and Washington, have the space to accommodate more students. They were built or remodeled in 2014 to house a large number of students. Columbia is located in a unique and centralized location. Most of Columbia students will live within a mile walking distance of Lincoln or Washington. The few students who will need transportation can be added to the existing Wenatchee School District bus routes, limiting any additional funding. And we know that there's a lack of vacant land in the area, and the co-zoning of several sections for residential and commercial purposes, the possibility of growth becomes minimal. Most homes in this boundary are single-family dwellings with a few apartments and numerous companies and agencies.
Y ahora nosotros nos preguntamos, y muchos se han preguntado, ¿por qué la Escuela Columbia? ¿Por qué no otra escuela? Bueno, la determinación es que la Escuela Columbia es la segunda escuela más pequeña que hay en el distrito escolar. Tiene 341 estudiantes entre el preescolar que tienen ahí hasta el grado 5, y es la escuela que tiene también el segundo personal más pequeño de todo el distrito escolar. Y en los últimos 8 años la Escuela Columbia ha experimentado una disminución en la inscripción de alumnos, ha reducido su número de alumnos que están llegando de un 26.5%. Esto da como resultado que muchos salones de clases no se están usando como salones de clases para clases normales, se usan como para dar algunos programas que no son exactamente para salones de clases, porque las clases ya están muy reducidas. Ahora, la escuela Lincoln y la Washington tienen espacio para acomodar más estudiantes, y así en el año 2014 fueron construidas para darle acceso a más estudiantes, es decir, los edificios son más grandes. Ahora, el otro aspecto es que la ubicación geográfica de la Escuela Columbia está en un lugar en donde las escuelas que están cercanas es más fácil poder transportar a los alumnos a esos lugares, y se habla de la Escuela Washington y la Escuela Lincoln porque están cerca de la Escuela Columbia, y sería más fácil transportarlos o que los niños caminaran de ahí exactamente a esas dos escuelas. Se habla también de que se les va a proporcionar transportación, autobuses a los alumnos que vivan en un lugar un poco alejado de las escuelas de Washington y Columbia. Deben de saber todos que las reglas del distrito escolar es que se transportan los alumnos a las escuelas, se les proporciona autobús cuando viven más lejos de 1 milla de la escuela. Otro de los aspectos también es que en este lugar ya se ha estudiado que ya no hay modo de que siga creciendo la población ahí, porque ya se compraron todos esos lugares, ya se hicieron casas, ya todo está ocupado, ya hay muy poca oportunidad de que crezca la población en el área alrededor de la Columbia, y por eso obviamente ya no hay oportunidad de que siga creciendo con más estudiantes.
Thank you so much, Alfonso. We have some more information that is located on the district budget and documentation on the possible closure that is available on our website. And I would encourage anyone who hasn't already to read the written analysis, our addendum, and then the budget and closure Q&A. And there's also a specific space there for information for Columbia families. And that QR code is available on the next slide as well, too.
Aquí en lo que estamos viendo en este slide, lo que estamos viendo es que lo que ahorita le estamos diciendo, yo particularmente me siento como que es muy poquita la información que le estamos dando, porque es muy amplia toda la información que se les debe dar, y por esa razón se ha puesto aquí este código para que con su teléfono o de alguna forma puedan llegar ahí y puedan encontrar una información más amplia de todo esto que se está diciendo. Ahí pueden encontrar el análisis escrito que se hizo de esta proposición, ahí pueden encontrar los anexos que se le han hecho a esta proposición, las preguntas que ya han hecho, ahí también están con su respuesta. Ahí tienen información especialmente para las familias de la Columbia, a dónde pudieran ir sus niños, qué escuela le corresponde, es decir, en esta parte pueden ir y ahí pueden encontrar una información más amplia de lo que se necesita.
Thank you very much. We also have some upcoming board meetings and public comment opportunities. Our second public hearing will be April 18th. As always, written testimony is accepted by the board via email. And then, of course, our final decision on Columbia will be on May 14th at 6 o'clock at our regular board meeting.
Pues ya casi estamos por terminar esta pequeña presentación, pero ojalá y puedan seguir trayendo sus puntos de vista, sus ideas, sus comentarios, y ya lo saben que la segunda audiencia pública como esta se va a llevar a cabo el 18 de abril, por si acaso quieren volver a venir y dar sus puntos de vista. Ahora, si no gustan hacerlo ahí enfrente de ese micrófono, también hay la oportunidad de que puedan hacerlo de manera escrita, enviando un escrito. Ahí está el correo electrónico, eso lo recibe la mesa directiva y ellos lo pueden leer, esos comentarios que tengan. Y por último, es algo que posiblemente ya saben, la decisión definitiva si se cierra o no se cierra la escuela se dará el 14 de mayo a las 6 de la tarde. Es entonces cuando se decidirá.
Excellent. Thank you, Alfonso. Thank you, folks, for being here. President Norton, there's been a request that our cafe translators, our wonderful translators who are here, share a few of the words that you shared in the opening in Spanish, if that would be okay. Thank you so much for an unexpected request, so I'll pass the mic.
Thank you. Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Ana, soy intérprete certificada. El día de hoy estoy aquí para asistir a las familias que quieren dar algún tipo de comentario. Al principio de la audiencia pública hicieron algunos comentarios enfrente referente a cuáles son las siguientes reglas o las cosas que se sobrepasarán el día de hoy. Así que me han pedido que les dé un resumen. Tengo aquí los papeles, más que nada les quiero dejar saber que tenemos tiempo limitado para hacer comentarios. El tiempo que se nos permite va a ser en total 7 minutos para poder dar nuestro mensaje, lo cual quiere decir que tienen como 3-4 minutos para dar su mensaje. Igual yo tengo 3 o 4 minutos para dar el mensaje a la mesa directiva. La otra cosa que nos piden, por favor, es que saben que es una cosa muy sensible, por lo cual no quieren que demos abucheos, ni aplaudamos, ni gritemos, ¿verdad? Comportarnos todos de una manera civil. La otra cosa que me gustaría dejarles saber es que si tienen algún tipo de comentario que dar, en el papel habla de que tenemos que llenar una forma. Esas copias de la forma están afuera de la mesa de entrada y deben de ser entregadas a Kim White, quien anunciará tu nombre cuando sea tu turno de arrimarte al podium para poder dar tu mensaje. Los comentarios solo se aceptarán en persona, por lo cual no es válido dar las opiniones de otra forma esta noche. Como sabemos que tenemos poco tiempo para poder dar estos mensajes, también hay una página web de school-board at wenatcheeschools.org donde pueden mandar sus comentarios si no es en persona. Como mencionaron anteriormente, la decisión será tomada mayo 14. Esta es una de 2 audiencias públicas, viene siendo la primera de las 2. Solamente se permite dar un comentario por persona, así que como mencioné anteriormente, el tiempo es limitado, lo cual quiere decir que no se permite donar tu tiempo a otra persona. Así que no podemos decir quiero que tal persona hable un total de 10 minutos, le voy a donar mi tiempo, ya que eso no se acepta. La junta directiva del día de hoy se terminará a las 9 de la noche, a menos que antes de eso escuchemos el último comentario.
Thank you so much. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias.
So as soon as Ron has the camera ready, I'll ask. Okay, looks like Kim, you want to read the first 2 commenters? We'll go 2 names at a time.
Cy Stuber, and then Roxana Banana.
Good evening. that loud? Oh man, they should never hand me a mic that I can walk around in and like work a crowd. I feel like I should get more minutes than 3 because any staff member who's in here knows that I can never talk for 3 minutes. I talk way too long and they're like, ugh, his jokes are the worst. Okay, where's the timer? Because I'm gonna need help here. Have we started it yet, Kim? Yeah, you should. Okay. On the mark, are we ready? On the mark, get set, go. All right. Thank you everybody for being here. My name is Cy Stewart. I'm the principal of Columbia Elementary School. It is my honor to speak tonight about our staff, students, and families. The reason that I'm with students is because I love hearing from your students, your children, being with them every day. It's an honor. They tell a lot of truth. For example, today, 2nd grade line, Isabella looks up at me and says, Mr. Stewart, you have something on your eyebrow. And I was like, oh, is it a bug or do I have dirt on there? She's like, no, your eyebrow hair like sticks down into your eye. And I was like, oh, well, I don't think I can fix that. And then she reaches up and like pushes it back into place. I was like, thanks, Isabella. That's the truth that you get from elementary students every day, and it's a lot of fun. Talking about some truth, we've talked a lot about Columbia's scores over the last couple meetings. I just wanted you all to know your kids are awesome. Teachers, you guys are awesome. Staff, you're awesome. I chopped up a little data in for preparation for this meeting. So in Eastern Washington schools that are, their highest subgroup is Hispanic students, they're Title I, and they have high poverty numbers like Columbia does. Columbia is ranked 5th out of 202 schools. They're ranked, yeah, go ahead and clap, that's good. And when they're compared to all Title I schools, they're 8th out of the same 202 data set. The last time that the schools were recognized in Washington State, there was one school recognized in the Wenatchee Valley. That was 1819, and that was Columbia Elementary School. And I encourage you guys, I'm sure you've been, go to the OSPI report card, scroll down on the left, it says WISIF, that's the WSIF data. It's just been updated and released for their last run. And Columbia looks really good, but I'm most proud of the candles in the EL department and the special ed candles. Those went up significantly this last run, and it's due to our Columbia team. I have 26 seconds. I want to thank our families and our students for getting them to school every day and all of their hard work, and our staff, kitchen, custodian, classified, paras, SPED, teachers, OTs, PTs, BCPAs, SLPs, our intervention specialists, our specialist, PALM team, PE art, library music, our office staff, office manager, secretary, family advocate. My watch is buzzing, that's bad. The nurse, counselor, Miss Jasmine, after school program, teachers, you guys are awesome. I'm out of time. Raise your hand if you've been to a Top Cat assembly. Okay, so you should be able to do this. You've seen it done. Are we ready? The more you read, the smarter you get. The more you read, the smarter you get. The more you read, the smarter you get. Thanks, everybody. John says.
Get my eyes. Yes. Hello. Can you hear me okay? Don't knock me out. All right, Roxana Vanetta, teacher and parent from Columbia Elementary. As you deliberate on Columbia's closure, I urge you to read the findings from the Equity Review of 2022. It is crucial to recognize that closing Columbia Elementary is not recommended based on the opportunity barriers and educational injustice it seeks to mitigate. There is a troubling trend emerging where certain neighborhood schools are being maintained open and funded seemingly because that is where our students are being redirected. Research indicates that race is a strong predictor of which schools face closure, raising questions about the equity of the process. As we evaluate the impact on our 70% Latinx student population at Columbia, it is essential to scrutinize whether this act, deliberate or not, perpetuates or alleviates existing disparities. Studies show that closures often result in an initial drop in academic performance, increased negative behavior, and greater absence rates for displaced students. While attending a higher quality school post-closure is crucial for mitigating these effects, there are doubts about whether all affected students will have equitable access to such opportunities. I urge the board to engage in a discussion surrounding the following questions. To what extent will Columbia students in the district have equitable access to grade-level learning opportunities, particularly considering the 30% ELL endorsements among Columbia staff? Will Columbia students experience culturally responsive teaching practices at Washington Elementary? And how can this be ensured? How have students and families been involved in the closure procedures, and to what extent has their input been considered? Has the closure process been implemented equitably, and to what measures have been taken to provide emotionally supportive interventions for affected students and families? Are future plans for closure conversations taken into account culturally and linguistically responsive perspectives? What steps will be taken to increase proportional representation in the classroom for students coming from Columbia to Washington? It is essential to closely examine Washington's and Lincoln's data on OSPI's report card to ensure these schools can adequately meet the needs of incoming students from Columbia. For Washington, this includes assessing the availability of bilingual staff, culturally responsive teaching practices, and support services for students from disadvantaged migrant and newcomer backgrounds. While closing schools is undoubtedly a difficult decision, ensuring that our most disadvantaged students transition to more effective environments is paramount. It is imperative that we uphold principles of equity and justice throughout this process, striving to narrow achievement gaps and provide all students with the opportunities they deserve. Columbia cannot be replaced or replicated, as our students, staff, and leaders are the heart of our school. Keep Columbia open.
Please no applause. Thank you. Next we have Elizabeth Kazemba, then Cameron Wiggins.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Callahar at Wenatchee School Board. I am a 4th grade teacher at Columbia Elementary. I'm the parent of a student who attends Columbia, and I have a student who attends Wenatchee High School. I am an alumni of the Wenatchee School District and feel so fortunate to teach alongside many of the teachers who inspired me to become a teacher and made me really want to have my own children attend Wenatchee schools. Connections run deep in our community. As we know, I have a personal connection to almost every single member of the school board and Dr. Callahar. That's one of the reasons my husband and I returned here to raise our family. However, since the announcement of the closure of Columbia, I am becoming more and more concerned about and discouraged about the direction this district is heading. The disorganization and the lack of transparency around the district budget shortfall the proposed closure of Columbia, the shuffling several times of building principals, the random order of placement among non-provisional building staff, and the overarching message that this is a done deal is bringing anger, hurt, and mistrust to everyone involved. This is affecting the entire community. Declining enrollment has been cited numerous times as one of the reasons that all of the proposed changes are necessary. However, the way the proposed closure of Columbia has been handled makes me question as a parent if I want my own children to attend schools in this district. After talking with other parents in town, that feeling is very much shared. If I were planning on moving to the area, I would probably consider alternatives instead of enrolling my children in a district that chooses to shutter a school with some of the highest rates of growth, a transitional kindergarten program, and some of the most vulnerable children, all without seeking outside help or community input. Months upon months were spent designing a new logo and coming up with a strategic plan, also known as the Big Six. Community involvement was sought, a committee was formed, multiple workshops took place, thousands of people were asked their opinion and given the opportunity to provide input. The district spent thousands of dollars rolling out the result of this work and took great pride in telling the community of their commitment to the education and well-being of Wenatchee's youth. The promise to build a foundation of diversity, equity, and inclusion from which each student emerges future ready. And at Columbia, we are a living, breathing example of the Big Six. Our growth scores are some of the highest in the district for several years now. It was mentioned in a previous budget workshop that there is beauty in small schools and what they do for children. And our growth shows that. We provide that. We exemplify it in each and every way. And the leadership from Mr. Stuber and Mrs. Oakes definitely support that. We have a thriving learning community that needs to be allowed to continue to grow and thrive and be a leader in this district so that all students can emerge future ready. Closing Columbia will have devastating effects on this entire community and the future of our children. All we are asking for is the district to take a pause, seek the opinion of community members, ask for outside help with the budget, and talk to other districts who have been facing the same circumstances and got through. Almost ready, almost done. We want transparency and honesty from our leaders, and like others have said, please put the same effort into this decision that you put into designing a new logo. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cameron Wiggins. I'm a kindergarten teacher and parent at Columbia Elementary. I've already shared in a previous statement how I personally feel about the closure of Columbia, but I recently received an email from a former student. She expressed her sadness about not getting to walk through the halls when she graduates, and she was very sad for her little sister who wouldn't get to attend 5th grade at her family school. See, she also has an older brother who I coached way back in the Columbia track team, and an older sister who went through all 6 years of Columbia, and a mother who would always point out her own top cat pictures when she came to visit the halls. So for this student and for many others, Columbia Elementary is a piece of her life story, and we are deciding if we're going to sacrifice that piece of story. An analogy has been used relating the consolidation of the elementary schools to closing the doors or closing off rooms that are unused in a house to keep the rest of the house warm. But this is not closing a door, it's the amputation of a limb to treat a disease before looking hard enough at the alternative treatments. Up until the last school board meeting, I didn't feel like there was much transparency in the decision-making process regarding other options available. A doctor would do a better job weighing the pros and cons of alternative treatments with the patient before deciding to cut off an important body part. And while it's a process that sometimes is necessary, it wouldn't be done hastily unless it was absolutely necessary to save a patient's life. So here you are hearing us, the arm that's about to be amputated, asking you to weigh the consequences that this is going to have on the rest of our body very carefully. Has the district convinced you that this decision is necessary to save the district as a whole? Because it hasn't convinced me. I may not have the same level of responsibility as the district administration. I don't get paid as much. I don't have as much education, and I don't have nearly as much decision-making power. However, I am an important stakeholder in this decision, and I do not recommend closing Columbia Elementary.
Next, we have Michaela Salgado and Ann Young.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Closer? Oh, it's really close. Okay. My name is Micaela Salgado. I am a kindergarten teacher at Columbia. Since a young age, my parents always told me two things. No puedes confiar en todos, and la confianza se gana, no se da. They were right. You cannot trust everyone, and trust is earned. Corey. I can only speak for myself, but many might feel the same. I do not and cannot trust you or the cabinet anymore. Here are the reasons why I can't trust that closing Columbia Elementary is the right and best decision for the district and for students and our families. Reason number one. In an interview with Wenatchee World on January 26, 2024, Wenatchee World asked you the following: would Columbia Elementary be closing if there hadn't been a budget error in 2022? You said, most likely. However, the same day, in an interview with NCW Live on January 26, they asked, where does the idea of the closure stem from? And I'm curious, how far back as well? You said, the conversation, I think, for school closure is one that is kind of in the back of our mind as kind of the worst case scenario. So, my question to you is, which is it? Is your decision to close Columbia really because we're in a budget crisis and we're in the worst case scenario? Or is there another reason? How can you explain this to the board and the community? Reason two. On January 19th, you told Columbia staff that the decision of closing Columbia was a done deal. There was no discussion about it. In fact, you couldn't even tell us the plan in clear words for us to understand. Some colleagues had to ask for clarity on what you were trying to say. Then, you quickly went from a done deal to a potential closure. Was this quick turnaround because the district realized they weren't in compliance with the RCW? Reason number three. In the fall, you stood in our library and told us that elementary schools didn't have to worry. They weren't going to be affected with cuts because we were affected last year. But in one of your interviews with NCW Live on January 26th, you said, the idea of a school closure has been one that we have considered. I will say, even into the fall. If this was one that has been considered into the fall, why did you stand at Columbia and tell us that elementary schools were not going to be affected? Reason number four. During the school board meeting on March 12th, you stated that WSD has been compliant, and I quote, since the start of the process. If this was true, the 90 days per RCW would have started the day that you told Columbia staff that the Columbia Elementary School would be closing, not after 25 days of delivering the news. If the district was really in compliance, then the media release stating that the closure was happening would have never happened, or would have clearly stated that it is a possibility. Julie, Maria, Miranda, Tucker, and Martin, I urge that you ask for actual transparency as in how each calculation was made and request outside support. Let's do this for our students and family. After all, that is what we're all about, right? I'll end with this. To the school board members, can we trust that you will make the right choice that will show that you stand by WSD promise of diversity, and I'll be done, equity and inclusion. Like I said, no puedo confiar en todos y la confianza se gana. What are you going to do to gain back the trust that has been lost by the community, families, and staff? We cannot give you our trust, but you can earn it. For the school board members, you don't only represent district cabinet, you also represent the district's families, students, and the community. Thank you for your time.
All right, my emotions tonight mirror those of many others in this room, but instead of sharing my emotions tonight, I'm going to take a more logical approach. According to the 4-year budget projection document and the summary page on the full budget document on the district website, our district's expenditures were $8.4 million over this year, over their revenues. But $4 million of that $8.4 million was for a softball field. That leads me to believe the budget is missing $4.4 million reoccurring yearly deficit, not the 8.4. Not 8.4. So why is it that our district is taking drastic measures to cut $8.9 million from our yearly budget? If this is not accurate, then the budget information on the website needs to be more transparent. As I've talked to several people with backgrounds in finance that have seen the same thing and came to the same conclusion. If it is accurate, then are we asking the students of Columbia Elementary to bear the consequences of the district's decision to not sell unused property to finance the softball field? By the district's own account, closing Columbia will save $2.7 million. Ironically, a month ago, that number was $3.5 million. However, $2.7 million represents around 2% of the district's operating budget. I'm going to say that again, 2%. When this discussion began in mid-January, it was stated by our leadership that this is not a problem that can be nickeled and dimed. But I disagree with that statement. You see, if my family budget was short 2%, I would not sell my car, a drastic and permanent move to make ends meet. I would make smaller changes, often not fun or comfortable, but I would nickel and dime my budget. I don't make drastic changes that are permanent to fix a 2% problem. The reality is that staffing can be aligned to enrollment without closing a school. There are ways to save the same amount through means other than closing schools. We could and should be talking about absorbing positions that have already been cut through creating mixed-age classes instead of filling 2 schools to the brim. In fact, if you look at the highest performing schools in our district, the 2 highest performing schools in our district are also the 2 smallest schools. So I ask you, at what point did we become a district that would avoid the hard work of nickel and diming a budget at the expense of the achievement of our students? There are many ways our district could save the same amount of money, many options that we could put together to save a high-performing school and still save 2% of the budget. When Mr. Eagle began the budget cut process, he gave 3 options to the board to vote on. You are being given 1, and that option is simply unacceptable. Since it does not appear that you are being given options, I'm going to follow up with an email that has some ideas that I've put together. Are the options perfect? No, they're not. They are uncomfortable. And no matter what cuts are made, they affect students, staff, and beloved programs. But our district has cut programs and staff before and has brought them back in future years. Closing a school is permanent. Permanent solutions for temporary problems are never the answer.
Next is Marcy Wright and Cassie Elenas.
Voy a presentar en español, tengo 7 minutos, ¿verdad? Lo importante de Colombia es que hemos desarrollado una comunidad eficaz. Crecemos, compartimos, nos preocupamos. Puedes tener todos los ingredientes correctos y la receta correcta, pero si no tienes los conocimientos, la experiencia y la prioridad de poner a los estudiantes en primer lugar, no podrás lograrlo como lo hacemos en el crecimiento académico y socioemocional. The important thing about Columbia is we have developed an effective community. We grow, we share, we care. You can have all the right ingredients and the correct recipe, but if you don't have the expertise and experience and priority of putting students first, you can't nail it like we do in academic and social emotional growth. Lo importante de Colombia es vemos a padres y cuidadores todos los días. Debido a la proximidad de la escuela a los hogares de las familias, los padres y cuidadores vienen personalmente a recoger a sus hijos diariamente. Esto nos da la oportunidad todos los días de compartir el crecimiento inminente a las celebraciones con las familias. Los 6 grandes de Wenatchee, prioridad de asociaciones, relaciones entre estudiantes, familias, escuelas y comunidad que mejoren el bienestar y el éxito de los estudiantes. Pasos de acción, involucrar a los estudiantes, los padres y la comunidad. The important thing about Columbia is we see parents and guardians every day. Because of the proximity of the school to the families' homes, parents and guardians come in person to pick up their children daily. This gives us a chance every day to share immediate growth and celebrations with families. The Wenatchee School District Big 6 partnership priority, relationships between students, families, schools, and communities that enhance student well-being and success. Action step, engaging students, parents, and the community. We do that pretty well. Lo importante de Colombia es somos un hogar para estudiantes y familias. Colombia es hogar, nos proteja, apoya y anima a todos. Es un hogar en el que puedes estar, ser venido a entrar por la puerta sin esperar una invitación porque sabes que siempre te quieren y te ven. We are home to students and families. Columbia is home. It shelters, supports, and encourages us all. It is a home that you can be welcome to walk in the door without waiting for an invitation because you know you are always wanted and seen. Lo importante de Colombia es tenemos un entorno próspero. Prioridad de los 6 grandes de Wenatchee, entorno próspero. Nuestro director conoce a cada estudiante por su nombre y conexión familiar. Nuestra escuela más pequeña es una red de seguridad para los niños que atrapa a los estudiantes para que no quedan desamparados, como ocurre en las escuelas con 650 estudiantes. Las escuelas y aulas llenas al máximo de su capacidad o sobrecargadas no son espacios de apoyo. We have a thriving environment. The Wenatchee School District Big 6 priority, thriving environment. Supporting the social and emotional well-being of people with healthy and supportive spaces. Developing facilities and operations that reinforce equitable learning and opportunities. Our principal knows every student by name and family connection. Our smaller school is a safety net for kids which catches students so they don't fall through the cracks like they do in schools with 650 students. Schools and classrooms filled to maximum capacity or overloaded are not supportive spaces. Lo importante de Colombia es somos innovadores. Marcamos las tendencias en este distrito. TK, Colombia inició el programa de transición a kinder y sigue siendo la única escuela con maestros bilingües de TK. Es un programa para preparar a los estudiantes para el kinder. El porcentaje de estudiantes que ingresan preparados a kinder casi se ha duplicado en el último año en Colombia. Camina a intervención y intervención a matemáticas, incluyen los estudiantes con IEPs, soporte para recién llegados y soporte de nivel 3, los estudiantes nuevos en los Estados Unidos que solo hablan español reciben apoyo específico para aprender inglés y académico en su idioma nativo. We are innovative. We set the trends in this district. TK. Columbia started the transitional kindergarten program to prepare students for kindergarten and is still the only school with bilingual TK teachers. The percentage of students coming into kindergarten prepared has almost doubled in the last year at Columbia. We have walk to intervention and math intervention, which includes students on IEPs. We have newcomer support and tier 3 support. Students new to the U.S. who only speak Spanish receive the specific support they need to learn English and learn in their native language. Lo importante que de Colombia es somos el equipo Puma. También tenemos una canción. The important thing about Columbia is we are the Cougar team. We even have a song.
Hello, my name is Cassie Alanese. I'm a current first grade teacher at Columbia Elementary. I grew up in the Wenatchee School District and I actually attended Mission View Elementary. It was there that my kindergarten teacher made me decide that this job was the only job for me. Although I attended Mission View, a piece of my heart belonged to Columbia when my grandmother was a family advocate there growing up. There is so much magic within the community that is Columbia. So much so that I would help out my grandmother with projects she had when I was in elementary school. I volunteered at Columbia's after-school program when I was in middle school, and eventually raced to get a job in their after-school program when I was 16. All of this led me to teach at that wonderful building in Columbia Elementary. It is clear that from a young age, I knew there was something special about Columbia. Now I get the honor and privilege of seeing my first grade students experience that love and magic that is Columbia every day. Ever since they got the news that their school could possibly be closing, all of that has changed. The fear and anxiety that their 6 and 7-year-old minds have to process has shown in many different ways. From random outbursts of emotion throughout the day and behaviors that have not shown up before. These kids know there are scary and unknown changes on the horizon, but don't have the tools to process them because they are so young. Putting our students through such trauma is not okay when it was completely avoidable in the first place. Our students deserve our very best, and this is not it. Through all of this, our staff has put on a brave face and continued loving and serving our students. I think I can speak for all of us when I say we are tired. Some of us are losing our jobs or moving schools, but luckily we're adults and we have more tools in our toolbox, but it's still hard. If you think you can take the magic of Columbia and replicate it elsewhere, you're wrong. You can give us all the professional development or remind us of our why, but that will not reverse the damage of this unorganized and unjust process. It should say something to the board that you have so many staff, parents, and students here late at night after working all day. We care and we want to find a solution that works for all. I invite you to come into our building and experience the love and magic that has fostered the highest growth scores in the region. And I also want to add that 3 of those kiddos out there running and having fun, I have them every day. And I have the privilege of seeing them run and have fun at recess and sometimes in the hall when they need reminders. But they have so much fun. You can't replicate that if you take them and put them somewhere else. Thank you for your time.
Lois Ferguson, then Dorothy Ferguson.
My name is Lois Ferguson. I live in Wenatchee. I'm a member of the Columbia Parents Advocacy Group's Task Force on Safe Walking Routes to Schools. You have the traffic analysis of students crossing Ferry Street that we have shared with the board previously. The first question, who survives being hit by a car? The Washington Traffic Safety Commission shares that speed kills. At 20 miles per hour, 9 out of 10 pedestrians survive. At 30 miles per hour, 5 out of 10 pedestrians survive. At 40 miles per hour, 1 out of 10 pedestrians survive. On March 19, 2020, the Washington Traffic Safety Commission conducted a speed survey at Ferry Street. The results, the speed limit is 30 miles per hour, 70% or 220 drivers were speeding from 31 to 45 miles per hour. A child hit by a car at 30 to 45 miles per hour has little chance of surviving or escaping life-altering injury. Ferry Russell streets have not been used in the past as school crossing zones. There is inadequate school crossing and speed limit signage. There is no speed limit reduction from 30 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour at any crosswalks. Necessary road improvements will not be installed prior to August 2024, when up to 170 elementary students would be required to cross Ferry Russell streets, walking to and from Lincoln Elementary. The City of Wenatchee is responsible for road infrastructure. Their road improvement projects are planned and funded 1 to 2 years in advance. The Wenatchee School District did not consult with the city in a timely manner, so needed improvements could not be planned, funded, and completed before students are required to cross Ferry Russell and Miller Streets 5 months from now. The city just received funding for road infrastructure from its last grant cycle. The city does not plan to submit new grant requests for 1 to 2 years. The district met with City of Wenatchee and traffic enforcement. The district's proposed marketing plan and enforcement will not result in adequate school crossing signage or speed limit reductions. The district said they might have crossing guards at major intersections. With no speed limit reductions at school crossing, that just puts school district employees' lives in jeopardy. And what happens when they call out sick? Who replaces them? A teacher at Columbia shared at a board meeting that often his students are late arriving at school. Will there be crossing guards to assist late students to cross Ferry, Russell, and Miller Street safely? The district's rushed and haphazard planning for closing Columbia School puts our children's lives, health, and safety at risk. The district's cavalier attitude to students' lives and safety is appalling and negligent.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Ferguson. I live in Wenatchee. I want to thank the board members for your service on the board. I'm a member of the Columbia Parents Advocacy Group. We represent 341 Columbia students and their parents. That's over 1,000 people. They're not always able to attend these meetings because they're at home with having dinner with their kids and supervising homework. I'm disappointed in the interim superintendent's arbitrary decision last Friday at the last minute to not accept citizen comments from the parents and public who are attending this public hearing via Zoom. The board has accepted citizen comment during board meetings via Zoom for the last 6 years, since 2018. The Columbia Parent Advocacy Group requested the school board overturn the district's decision that effectively silences Columbia parents who can only attend this public hearing via Zoom. Julie Norton, board president, responded to our request. She denied the request to allow citizen comment from the public attending via Zoom. You've heard the concerns of many Columbia parents that school walking routes crossing Ferry, Russell Streets are not safe for children. The district's response is, no problem here. We will have an interagency market education and awareness campaign. Yet the district has not provided any evidence that the needed school crossing infrastructure for safe school crossing on Ferry Street will be in place and ready in 5 months. This attitude is dangerous and negligent. Unfortunately, I want to take you back to the past, prior to November 17th, 2011, over 12 years ago. The Wenatchee School District proposed budget cuts. Teachers advised the district that certain proposed cuts would jeopardize student safety. The district disregarded teachers' warnings. The district went ahead and cut the on-duty lifeguard during PE swim classes. Judge Leslie Allen, Wenatchee Superior Court, found the school district negligent in the death of Antonio Reyes, 17 years old, freshman, Wenatchee High School, student in a PE swim class. Hopefully, the Wenatchee School District and the school board can learn from the past and not repeat the same disregard for student safety and their lives, which had tragic results for Antonio Reyes, his family, his friends, and all the community who care about our students' safety. Your first duty is to do no harm to children. Their children. Thank you.
Aaron Geringer and Mary Thresher.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight to encourage the school board to scrutinize the information coming from the district cabinet. The information contained in the written analysis in the following addendum is at best one-sided and misleading, and at worst an attempt to undermine the hard work of our teachers and students for the sake of a balanced budget. Here's what I'd like for you to consider. 1, you can align staffing to student enrollment without closing the school. When you look at the breakdown of costs, staffing is by far the largest expenditure. We've got that part. It's clearly greater than the number of teachers we need. Got it. Multi-grade classrooms, flexing building staffing based on enrollment numbers could keep Columbia open and keeping numbers in Washington and Lincoln lower. Has this option been considered? 2, if administration costs and classified staff costs are the issue, what about putting multiple programs at the same building site? Has anyone considered moving Valley Academy to an elementary school campus? How about us expanding TK offerings at Columbia because of its central location? Neither of these options would require closing our school and could better utilize the classified staff at each building when possible and still save money. 3rd, what about some budget gymnastics? I remember once upon a time, my teaching contract was paid out of a different funding source because I work with multilingual students. Couldn't we take a hard look at which funding sources have some flexibility and can be utilized to take the burden off of our general fund? What could be done with the reserve fund balance, the properties we own, even the partnerships with our larger community organizations that could lessen the burden? We're talking about a few percent of our total budget. It's time to stop listing all the things we can't recommend and get serious about what we can. 4, school closure should be the very last thing that should be on the minds of those in charge. Anything different shows a lack of respect for all of us that are in schools working with kids every day. What district office positions could be consolidated? Why are we taking the 24 and 25 and 25 and 26 school years to evaluate additional staffing reductions district-wide and restructuring our departments, reducing programs and supplies. Shouldn't those consolidations happen well before we consider closing a school? What is most important to educate the students of this valley? If this has shed any doubt in your minds as to the necessity of closing Columbia, I beg you to vote no on May 14th. This plan has been poorly designed, executed, and without the input of the larger community. We can do better. Our kids deserve better. Thank you.
I knew I'd be right after you.
Oh, sorry about that.
Good evening. My name is Mary B. Thresher, and my husband and I come here as parent advocates, Wenatchee School District volunteers of over 30 years, earning a Heart of the Panther Award, and as taxpayers. My husband graduated from Columbia, as well as many loved members of our family. It was great, because after school they could walk to Grandma's house while their folks were still at work. It seems there's a lot of talk about community, that it solves a lot of division that runs rampant in our country. For children, I believe that community begins at school. They play together, they eat together, they walk to school together, and they learn together. The one thing that I learned coming from a large family is that the kids come first. The lessons they learn at elementary school will give them the base that will either help them or hurt them throughout their lives. It certainly did me, but not in a good way. I was bussed into school and it was awful. Leaving early in the morning and coming home later at night, no possibility of after-school sports or other activities because working parents were not able to collect me after school. If you don't get on the bus, you don't have a way home. I want to know how we got into this situation. Was the person that made the millions of dollars mistake fired? I would have been. Was there no insurance to cover a mistake like that? What sacrifices had the school district office made to help keep our school together? What will happen to the school building that my husband and I helped pay for? The district tells us that population is going down. I read every day, now that the threat of COVID is over, that there are more marriages and babies on the way. Get busy, people. Let's be ready for those kids that are coming up. I see more kids in portables and less one-on-one time for teachers and kids, and I hate it. I'm hoping the district can come up with more cuts elsewhere, just like we do at home with our budgets. We have a little less meat and a little more macaroni, so the kids have a better life. Thank you.
Maria Sandoval and Kyle Dran. Yes? Okay. Maria Sandoval and Kyle Diaz.
Buenas tardes, soy María Sandoval. Yo soy una madre de 4 niños que estuvieron en Colombia. Hablo por ellos, por mis hijos, porque mis hijos han sufrido muchas cosas y yo no quiero que mis hijos más adelante ellos crezcan inseguros. Yo quiero el bienestar de mis hijos, tanto de Dominic, Christopher y Amairán. Yo espero que mis hijos sean lo mejor, buenos estudiantes, tanto como los maestros y ayudantes de toda la Escuela Colombia ayudan a mis hijos. Ellos necesitan muchas cosas, tanto en cosas especiales, porque tengo un niño especial y él necesita mucha ayuda. Y él le gusta ir a su escuela, le encanta, hasta los sábados quiere ir, la pobre niña que está en preschool, que ama a su maestra, ama a sus maestros, y espero que piensen en los niños, no nada más en los niños y en los maestros, porque tienen muchos años. Mi hijo de 18 años estudió en esa escuela y es un buen niño, y los amo a mis 4 hijos, tanto como el de 9, el de 6 y la de 4 años. Espero que todos los papás que estemos aquí queramos mejor a mis hijos, a sus hijos, y que piensen en todo el daño que les están haciendo, porque los niños son los que están sufriendo. Mis niños lloran, se ponen tristes, y eso para mí como madre, yo no quiero ver a mis hijos así. Muchas gracias y muchas gracias a todos los maestros que están aquí apoyando a los niños también, porque también son papás como yo, y espero que piensen en ellos. También ellos necesitan trabajar, yo debería de estar haciendo comida para mis hijos y aquí estoy. Son 4 hijos y los quiero mucho y quiero lo mejor para ellos. Espero que piensen bien las cosas, lo que estén haciendo, si se puede hacer algo mejor para ellos y no para todos los niños, porque los niños son los que están sufriendo. Muchas gracias y
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Maria Sandoval. I am the mother of 4 children that study at Columbia, and today I speak on behalf of them because they are not able to speak on their own. My children are growing up suffering from the changes that are about to be made. They are suffering from insecurities. My children are Dominic, Christopher, and Amaidani. They are good students. They are good students that are going to school with great helpers that are helping my children, because I am the mother of a special needs child. My special needs child is a wonderful little girl who is in preschool and loves her school. She loves her school so much that on her day off, which would be Sunday, she is asking if she can go to school. This is a wonderful school with wonderful helpers and teachers that think about our children. So today I ask that you think about those teachers and about our children. I also have an 18-year-old child who went to school, and he is a great kid. I think about my children right now, my 9-year-old, my 6-year-old, and my 4-year-old. And this is interpreter speaking. As you can see, my voice is breaking. I am also a mother, and this really hits. I can't imagine a mom having to come up here and speak and beg that the school not be closed. I should not be speaking on my behalf. I should be speaking on the mother, so I will continue to let you know that the mother is saying she should be at home making dinner at this time and not here. Not here speaking on behalf of our children, on behalf of the teachers that are needing their job, a job that they're about to lose if the school is closed. My children are sad. My children cry. They do not understand why we are going through this. So I ask as a parent that you think of my children and also that you think of the teachers, because these are wonderful teachers that are helping these children. I'm sure that something else can be done instead of closing the school. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Diaz. I'm the father of 2 students at Columbia Elementary, and I have a 6-week-old little girl. She's at home with mom and a future Columbia Cougar. Dr. Callahar, at the school board meeting on March 12th, you stated that the district is in compliance with the RCW policy because the district provided an analysis. Your original analysis stated that this closure of Columbia would save the district at least $3 million annually. But your latest analysis presented it would be closer to $2.7 million. Are you still in compliance if the amount saved is not above the predicted estimate? This level of incompetence being displayed by the Wenatchee School District office is unappealing and unorganized. And they are not ready to close the school right now. As you can can tell by all the information that we shared with here. We have asked very peacefully for other plans to solve this budgeting problem, and yet there has been no headway. Meanwhile, we continue to see the ongoing staff rearranging plans, several overlooked details such as inadequate sidewalks, potentially overpopulating classrooms above contracted amount, and to deem that it is appropriate for a young child to ride a public city bus by themselves. I propose that the district needs to show more investment in the education its students receives by making sacrifices of their own. There are over 40 empty classrooms according to the WSD. In my opinion, you can fit several cubicles in a classroom if needed. Put your office spaces in several schools will help with the empty classrooms and increase your individual involvement at each school. Working from different locations didn't stop your work when we were all isolated. So we know it can be done. As for the TK program, all of our schools need this program and maybe several classes. If you want to increase your enrollment, you need to take the risk, like in any business situation, in spending the extra money for the paraeducators to retain the next year's FTE amounts. So many parents have told me the district turned them away because of full classes. The district needs to stop saying no and find a way to say yes. Lastly, the WSD mentioned budgeting for the remodel of Valley Academy in the last workshop. What a slap in the face. That is for the employees and students, showing how much more they value in their building. Every child has the right to receive a quality education, but the children who show up every day should not be less valued, and that is what your actions are telling us. Remodeling a location where students do not visit every day is not an opportunity to save money. However, I have mentioned before, the Valley Academy needs to move into a school building with vacant classrooms. Thank you.
Jessica O'Connor and Alicia Hall.
Okay. Good evening, Wenatchee School Board. My name is Jessica, you might remember me. My kinder Stacy still thinks her school is closing tomorrow, still. What are we doing here? What are we all doing here? I want to thank you all for answering my emails. Thank you for the Q&A, but I think you can do better. How do we work together? We are the adults, we are not the children. Obviously, with the new principal information that was released last night, there is still much confusion as to where anyone is going in 5 months. This process needs to be slowed down, reconsidered with some recommended options. Where are the recommended options? Our kids matter at any cost. Do not close Columbia now. This is not a thought-out plan, but a rushed decision to try and save some money. Why is that there was an advisory council for such things as the changing of the logo or an athletic director? But when it comes down to closing a school, there's nothing. Forming an advisory council now with parents, staff, board members, and community members seems like a good move to start gaining some trust and goodwill in the school district. Now would be the time to start trying that change. Now would be how we approach our future. Whatever happened to the Davis demographic report? That cost $33,000. Why was the current Columbia boundary divided between two different schools? It literally looks like a marker was drawn right down Rondo Avenue. I thought that the $33,000 Davis report was supposed to change all the boundaries. Or was this also on the not recommended list? Instead, how many classrooms will be overpopulated? But I guess having empty elementary classrooms is better than a whole empty school. The public needs to know. We need to be shown that you are listening, that you care, and that this is not a done deal. We deserve clear communication, honesty, and our children all deserve a support system that sets them up for success. We need to work together. I thank you for your time this evening, and I'll see you all on Tuesday.
Hello, my name is Alicia Hall. I have not been here before. This is my first time speaking with all of you. I warn you, I have been told that I come off as rough. So there's your fair warning right there. Apologies ahead of time if my questions are repeats from questions that people have already asked. These are questions that I feel have not been answered, despite numerous of times of being asked. So, sorry. I do not have any kids in Columbia Elementary School. However, I have been following all of this very closely, simply as a concerned citizen with a brain. Which brings me to my first question. Who sat there and said, let's have hundreds of students cross these dangerous roads? That sounds like a smart idea. You've already been given from other people the statistics of how many people get hit and the likelihood of survival. I don't need to tell you that again. You've seen that. Today at 3:59 p.m., I was on Ferry Street and I seen a teenage boy in a crosswalk with the lights flashing almost get hit by another younger looking, probably teenage to 18-year-old boy in a white car. This boy that almost hit him didn't even stop. I shudder to think what could have happened if this was, let's say, a 5-year-old who does not walk as quickly, would not have gotten out of the way as quickly, because that driver was not paying attention. He was not stopping, flashing lights and all. Sorry, I went out of order a little. So we're not asking, or we're not wondering if someone's going to get hit. With these statistics, it's a matter of when someone gets hit. Are you going to do something at that point, decide, oh my gosh, we made a mistake, when it's too late? I would hate to see in the news 6-7 months from now that a child got struck in these crosswalks. I live by Ferry Street. I hear a near accident every single day on Ferry Street because people just drive right through there. Sometimes, multiple times a day, I hear a near accident where there's screeching of the brakes and honking. It's scary to think that you want hundreds of elementary schoolers walking through here. Columbia's classroom ratio, actually I want to go back. I was a kid who was displaced several times. I was always going from school to school. It is very rough. I'm almost done. It is very rough on these children. You feel displaced. You feel like you don't belong. Everybody else has been there. You do not feel like you belong, and it takes a while. Not to mention these classroom sizes, I'm almost done. These classroom sizes are going to be what? 30 to 35 students after this merger. Can you imagine how many children, I am almost done, can you imagine how many children are going to be left behind or just too afraid to answer a question and not get it? And I will go ahead and skip most of this because I know you are rushing me and I am done. However, I just want to... Okay. I just wonder with all these teachers and parents here giving you alternate solutions, how this can be our solution to make it right. Please.
Hi, my name is Kimberly and I'm 12 years old. I know that the district is considering closing Columbia. Please don't do it. I know you guys think of the benefits, but with all respect, have you guys thought of the effects on that? One reason is that Columbia is a second home for all students, kids, and teachers. Even me, even though I don't go to school anymore, but I still will miss it if it gets closed. Another reason that it will be a longer walk. And also it's unsafe. There's a lot of bad people out there, and you don't know what can happen. You never know. So, if Columbia closes, I honestly think that no one wants to feel guilty for what has happened. Thank you.
name is Emily Bjork. I have a second grader at Columbia Elementary. We have a daughter who will be hopefully starting TK there next year. I want to thank you guys for giving my husband and I the opportunity to have a little impromptu date night here tonight. So my mom was able to finally drive up an hour and a half to watch the kids. So that being said, I don't have a lot to say that hasn't already been said tonight. I wanted to thank every board member for carefully considering all the facts that have been presented, as well as everything that's been emailed to you in regards to alternate solutions to this large problem that we face before us. Again, to reiterate some of the facts that have been pointed out, there are other small percentage cuts that can be made, including looking at reducing district office salaries that has not been presented to the board or the public as far as this time. Lastly, I'd just like to thank the community as a whole for not just everybody who's here tonight, all the lovely Columbia staff who's here, all the families and community members, but I also want to thank everyone who signed our petition. So far, we have over 1,600 local families and people who signed our petition opposing this measure. And a lot of those people can't be here tonight because they're working, they're helping their kids with homework, they're cooking dinner. But I just want to let you guys all know we have a large amount of support in the community, and if we can form a larger parent advocate group within the Wenatchee School District, I think we have a lot of support, not just for this current issue that we're facing, but going forward to solve problems together. Thank you.
David Lucatero and Maria Tovar.
Hello, good evening. My name is Mireya. I'm a mother of two beautiful children. I have my daughter Kimberly Lucateros. She just graduated from Columbia Elementary, and I have my little son that he's currently on TK. Please don't close Columbia Elementary. All the vulnerable students will be the ones that will be affected. They love them school. It's like the second home. It's safe, and many of the parents need to work. A lot of them, they have to cross the street. They were gonna need to walk, and then it's a lot of cars going on and up. A lot of them, they don't qualify for the transportation because they don't. They live a mile away, and also it's a lot of people on the street under alcohol or drugs. And they also, the school is going to be overloaded, and I think all the students, they won't receive the education that they need. Child brain is like, all the elementary schools are the best education that any child can receive. It's when they age more smart. Child brain is like a little sponge, and they absorb everything. Closing the school is not the best option. All the students will not receive the education that they need, like I've said before, because it will be a lot of students, and it will be not safe for all the students. Any student has dreams and goals. Please don't let them stop their dreaming. They are the future for our valley of Wenatchee. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for being here. Gracias a todos por estar aquí. Muchas gracias. Thank you for the great teachers, great leaders. Thank you. Columbia has been it's 100 years. So we should be celebrating 100 years of a school that through time has gone to difficulties, and it's still flourishing with great teachers and students like my daughter that she went, Kimberly, and my little son who's in TK right now. He loves school. At the beginning of the year, I mean, he was struggling to talk, for speech. Right now, if you listen to him, that little guy, it's hard to stop him talking. Why? great teachers, great school. Kids feel like second home. So please listen to teachers, to parents that care about our children. I think closing Columbia would be the last option. I think that instead of closing Columbia right away, it's like everybody can relate to budgeting. I mean, if there's a problem for budgeting in the house, the last thing we do is leave our house. We find other solutions. Where's the money going? I mean, can we spend less here, spend less there? But the last thing for our children, as parents, would be leaving our house and moving into maybe siblings. That is just common sense. So please, I know that you're here for us, and that's why a lot of people have voted for you, and you're here, and thank you for being here. And I know you have a very hard decision, but I know that you might be a parent, you might be a grandparent, you might be a mother, but you can relate what the problem that we're facing. But once again, please consider closing Columbia the last option. And we as parents and teachers could understand that. I think if there's other solutions first, and if those other solutions don't work, hey, there's no other option for the best for all the elementary schools. Okay, let's close Columbia, but please don't take that for the first options. And thank you for being here. Gracias a todos por estar aquí, and hey, God bless you.
I can remember how to get out of here. It's still good right now. Go ahead.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me talk tonight. I've been coming to all the board meetings and listening to everybody and thinking to myself, I've been working at Columbia for 24 years, so I am definitely one of the veteran teachers there, right behind Tammy. And I knew that I needed to come and I needed to say something. I'm going to be really short. This school is still special. I go back to the years when I taught with Gretchen Klein and Mark Olson, and we were an awesome team, and I loved it, and it was magical. It was really special. And you think that over the years that specialness would fade away, but it really hasn't. So I don't know what it is about Columbia, but it's still there. It's still there. And I can't describe it in words. It's a great place. It's a great school. It's special. It means a lot to the people that are inside it. And all I'm going to say is I just really, really hope that you guys think really long and hard about this decision that you make, who it's going to affect. The kids who are so vulnerable, we fight all the time to keep them from falling through the cracks. We just don't want to see that happen. The families and the community, the community that I moved here to back in 2000. I love this town. I love it. And what I hate to see is this. I hate to see this. It makes me so sad. So I just really want you all to think about that. Think about the impact it's going to have in the future. Not just now, but when you look down the road, what is the effect going to be long term? I really hope you think about that. Thank you.
But my concern, what I wanted to speak to tonight was the community is looking really closely at this. And that includes myself. I'm brokenhearted. I feel disrespected. This is the first time in 40 years. So I want you to think about this decision that you have in front of you. And really think about it, because I'm worried that people just won't show up at the polls for the levies, for supporting the schools. It's got a huge impact. And I'm not alone. I've been here 40 years, 40 plus. I have my grandchildren in the schools. My children went to the schools. I'm very proud of the education that they got there. Very proud. But I don't know how I would be feeling right now as a member of the community to entrust my family to the school district. So I want you to really think about that. I think that has not been considered as often. It's why I love Columbia. It's what the children are doing, or what the grade point is, or, but it's, to me, it's the way that things have been done. And this is one of the most respectful, difficult, broken-hearted groups of people I have seen in my 40-plus years as a social worker, and I've been in high conflict situations. And I don't see people looking for an alternative to shaking their hands instead of following the rules for clapping. I see that's creative, and it goes by. It takes care of that decision and that need to show support. So I really hope that you think about this and think about it very, very carefully. I will be brokenhearted on May 12th if there's a different decision to close Columbia.
Benjamin Sanchez, and then the next one is just Adriana. His first name is all I have. Benjamin Sanchez.
Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Benjamín y soy el padre de un estudiante de tercer grado en la Escuela Columbia y de otro en Kinder. Me preocupa que cierren la escuela, ya que los niños están en una edad en la que son muy sensibles. Su mente todavía no puede digerir una noticia así, que puede que no vean a sus amigos que tienen ahorita y les va a tomar tiempo en acostumbrarse a otros nuevos amigos. Pero otra cosa que me preocupa sería la calidad de educación que recibirán en otras escuelas a las que sean asignados, ya que si hay exceso de alumnos y no hay suficiente personal, la educación, la calidad que están teniendo ahorita en la escuela, se puede decir que es alta. ¿Qué va a pasar? Va a bajar. Entonces, no sería el mismo rendimiento económico de los niños. Y pues, ante todo, pues ahora sí que, por favor, tomen en cuenta que son niños. Son el futuro de aquí de Wenatchee. Pues, gracias por escucharme y de mi parte sería todo. Gracias.
Hi, good night. My name is Benjamin Sanchez. I'm the father of 2 children. I have a 3rd grader and a kindergartner, and I am worried today regarding the sensitive topic about closing the school. Our children are at an age where they're very sensitive and they cannot process change easily. For my children, it is wanting to think about leaving their friends behind and going to a new school where they will have to find new friends. The other thing that concerns me is the quality of the education that they will be receiving. If our children are moved to a different school district, they will not have the one-on-one attention that they are currently receiving and will be in a larger group of students. So what happens with that? They're at a high level of learning at the moment, and we are putting them in a classroom with more students where they will not have that high quality help. Keep in mind that these are our children, and they are the future of Wenatchee. I want to thank you for listening to me today. That is all. Thank you.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Adriana Farnsworth. Y I'm sorry for you guys. I tell you every time I talk to you, I'm going to speak in Spanish because I want the people to know what I'm saying and stuff. Sorry. Okay. Como les estaba diciendo, mi nombre es Adriana y soy miembro de la comunidad latina. Les agradezco a todos los miembros del School District que nos dan la oportunidad de hablar y escuchar nuestras quejas o propuestas. Me gustaría empezar con muchas proposiciones que la escuela, los maestros y los padres de familia han reunido para que ustedes las escuchen. Muchas veces, pero así, quiero que lo vuelvan a escuchar para que los padres, los estudiantes y los afectados por este cierre también lo sepan y lo comprendan. Dice el distrito que cierra la escuela, pero no explica dónde se fueron los 9 millones de dólares. Pero sí explica que porque no hay suficientes alumnos, se va a cerrar. Yo he tratado de buscar información de una parte y de otra parte para ver que no estén atacando tanto a los miembros del board, pero tampoco estén atacando a los maestros y no defiendan a los padres de familia. Entonces es una ayuda para todos juntos. Y yo pienso que les he dicho en todas las ocasiones que he hablado que trabajando juntos se pueden hacer mejores cosas. Yo he hecho una investigación y dicen que hay 800 niños que están recibiendo necesidades especiales. Si quitamos 200 niños de esas necesidades especiales y los ponemos en la escuela de esta gente, se va a hacer el cupo que ustedes necesitan para que no se cierren. Pero nadie ha dicho eso, nada de eso. Entonces, son esos niños de necesidades especiales que pagan más, y lo sé porque yo tengo un daycare y sé que los niños de un tipo del estado pagan diferente. Entonces por eso yo les estoy enseñando esto que hay. También dicen que le están haciendo recorte, por lo que ya he escuchado, ya los recortes ya están hechos. Hay otras cosas que los maestros les han sugerido, les han mandado, les han dado emails y muchas cosas, y pues yo sigo viendo lo mismo, las mismas respuestas, pero bueno. Yo nada más quiero decir esto, y yo sé que ustedes todos los 5 están trabajando con todo su corazón, pero nomás quiero que piensen una cosa bien seriamente. Si un niño de esta escuela le pasa algo, como acaban de decir ahorita, lo atropellan, se lo roban, lo secuestran, ¿quiénes van a ser los responsables? Solamente por querer ahorrar los 9 millones que están perdidos no sé dónde, estamos haciendo esto. Se me hace muy, muy triste. Y por último, me gustaría retar al distrito escolar y al superintendente con varias opciones financieras para que nuestra escuela Columbia se mantenga abierta. No va a ser fácil de enfrentar las cosas. Un cambio tan brusco, eso va a costar más caro, no solo en cómo ayudar a los niños y tenerlos con terapistas. 9 millones no van a alcanzar para ayudar a todas las familias para que vuelvan a la normalidad. Nada más eso quiero que lo tomen en cuenta. Y yo como parte de la comunidad No estoy muy conforme por falta de transparencia en las finanzas y las decisiones que están tomando tan fácil, perjudicando a los niños, y por no hacerse cargo del bajo nivel educativo, y en el momento que pidan apoyo y recursos a la comunidad, yo pienso que no se les van a dar. Muchas gracias por su atención.
Hi, good afternoon. Before I begin, I would like to say that I will render my message in Spanish. I know that I have talked to you before, but I want all the people here present to understand what I am saying, including those in the Hispanic community. You have heard my complaints before, and also my propositions. As one of the people here, many times I have told you this. One of my questions for you would be, where did the $9 million go? Why do we not have enough to continue with the school, and why are we looking at school closures? I don't want to attack the board members, because I know that you are here with open hearts. I also don't want to attack the teachers, but I do want to defend the parents. I want us to work together to make great things possible. I know that there are 200 kids that are special needs children, and I'm wondering why these kids are not being sent to our school district, because I know that there's more financing or funding when it is a special needs child, as I am a provider of daycare, and I know that this is one of the things. I know that there have been cuts. I also know that many of us, teachers, myself, and parents, have sent emails and messages and have not gotten any answers. I know the 5 of you were all working with an open heart, but I want you to seriously think of something. When something happens to one of our children, who is going to be responsible? Let's say one of the children were put in danger, or run over, or kidnapped. Who will be held accountable? Also, where did that money go, the $9 million? Who knows where it went? This is something that makes me very sad. And lastly, why are there these financial cuts? Those $9 million that we are trying to save, that we don't know where they went, are not going to be enough to pay for the therapist that our children will have to go see. The children and the families will have to go to therapy in order for them to be able to return to normalcy, or a life as normal as they now know it. I am upset with the lack of transparency with the finances, and I'm also worried about these decisions being taken so lightly. So I want you all to consider today and think about the decisions that you are taking for the future of our children.
Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Rosario González y hoy estoy aquí porque me entristece que en vez de que estemos trabajando para que este problema que dicen que es porque hay pocos estudiantes, saquemos provecho de eso y elevemos la educación de los niños y demos una mejor calidad a la educación. Algunos de ustedes los vi en campañas donde había mucha gente latina y muchos de ustedes, sus propuestas eran pues enfocarse y subir el nivel de educación, ¿no? Y hoy tristemente estamos tratando de convencerlos en vez de que estemos buscando y trabajando soluciones para sacar una escuela adelante. Se ha hablado de cantidades que se deben, de cantidades que se van a ahorrar, pero no se ha hablado del nivel de educación que se puede dar con esos pocos estudiantes. Yo creo que esas áreas o problemas en la que ustedes lo ven como problema para cerrar una escuela, lo deberíamos de ver como fortalezas y áreas de oportunidad nuevamente para tener educación de calidad. Los niños no son números. Los niños son el futuro de Wenatchee. Entonces, por favor, piénsenlo. No piensen en números, en cuántos millones, qué es lo que se tiene que ahorrar. Trabajemos para una comunidad, para unos niños, eduquémoslos desde ahorita. Hoy yo traje a mis hijas para que ellos conozcan quiénes son los que van a tomar la decisión de cerrar una escuela, para que desde pequeñas se tenga un criterio de por quién se tiene que votar. No por aquel que le regale una paletita, sino por aquella propuesta que tenga un futuro y un porvenir en la educación, en el futuro, no solo de ella como joven, sino de los jóvenes que vienen atrás de ella. Gracias.
Hi, good night. My name is Rosario Gonzalez, and it saddens me to be here today because we are going through a process where we are working on trying to keep our school open. However, we need better quality for our students. We don't need to be here complaining about problems with the Latin community. We have a high level of education in our school, and we need to look at solutions for the school. We don't need to look at the amount that is owed. We don't need to look at numbers and how much we can save. We need to look at the future of Wenatchee. We don't need to know how many millions are needed or what is going to happen because we cannot get that money. Our community and our future depends on our children. Today, I bring my children here before you because I want them to see the people that will be taking the decision to close the school. I want them to focus on the people that they put in certain positions, not by choosing who gave you a lollipop or who was kind, but who took a decision that kept you in mind. So with that, I will say that I am here for the children today, and that I want you to consider this for our children.
Hello. Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia Murillo. Y'all might not remember me, but I remember y'all, your faces. It's so nice to see y'all after so many years. So today I want to talk about theory versus practice. So I graduated and I'm a product from Wenatchee School District. I went to Johnny Berry Elementary, Foothills, then Wenatchee High School, and then went to Wenatchee Valley College, and then went to get my bachelor's in Gonzaga University. In theory, I fulfilled this board's and this district's mission to prepare me for a future, right? But sometimes theory doesn't really work well in practice. The reason why I want to talk about this was because growing up in the district and the experiences I've had made it really difficult to say that I'm a proud alum of Wenatchee High School. I don't mention it with my peers. This is the first time I've been here in years because of how traumatizing this district has been. Not just to like to have some of a conversation with you. We've talked about in theory all the dangers that can take place, right? So children crossing the street, walking to school alone. And I want to share some things. So I used to walk to school, and I was in elementary school, and well, from elementary to high school. And there was times where I was followed, there was times where I was catcalled, but thankfully I got away because I knew the streets really well, so I just ran the back roads. That's how I went home. I remember one time I was getting ready to ride the school bus, and I saw somebody that was not doing well. It seems like they had a narcotic issue, and they tried to commit suicide in front of my home. I was about 7 or 8. When I first moved to Wenatchee, someone in a truck yelled at me, "Go back to your country, you illegal immigrant." And I was really confused, so I decided to ask my teacher about it. I was like, "Hey, what does this mean?" And he just looks at me and says, "Oh, Cynthia, illegal immigrant is a term for people who don't belong here." And I was like, "Oh, but don't we all belong here?" And these are things that now I'm 24, that I still have to live with, and things I still talk about when it comes to having conversations regarding education. I have a little brother who's autistic, and he struggled a lot because he was locked in a closet. He was tied up at Washington Elementary, so we moved. Another issue too was that my brother, when he was in high school, he got pulled over by the police, and my brother didn't tell us until years later, and he said that he didn't tell us because he turned into a coward. He thought that was the day he was going to lose his life. I'm here telling you as a regular conversation that these threats are really real and they define who we are, especially at the ages of 5 to 7. So again, I'm just here talking to you as a concerned citizen, as a product of this district, and thank you all for everything you do, because I know it's tough to give face. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. This is my first school board meeting ever. I've never been to one before, but I feel like I offer a different perspective than most of the people in the room. My family and I have lived in Wenatchee for approximately 1 month. We are new transplants to the area. We picked this area out specifically because of the strength of the community that was here. We picked the house that we bought on Orondo Avenue because of its location to Columbia Elementary. In our home in Texas, so I have 2 boys, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. My 6-year-old is in Miss Young's class. He's doing absolutely fantastic. We were very stressed about his transition into a new school district at his age, and he has done phenomenally. The first day that we showed up to the school to register my son at the school, we were met by Mr. Stuber and Ms. Young, who introduced themselves to my wife and I, just right off the bat. I was very impressed with that, and I've been impressed over the few weeks we've been here with my son's acclimation into the school and the community. We bought the house close to Columbia Elementary because my son loves to walk to school. We did it in Texas, and we live even closer now to the school than we did then. It is his time to decompress, to talk to us when we go pick him up and drop him off, to tell us about his day, his worries, his fears, his struggles, his hopes, his dreams. We live right on Orondo, more than a mile away from our newest Sunday school. That will not be an option anymore. My wife and I both work. We do not have the time to walk him to school when it's going to take about a half hour at least to walk there and then back home. We can put him on a bus, but his commute will increase from 5 minutes to how long? I don't know. Nobody's been told any of that information. I don't know how long his bus ride is going to be. This is going to impact him, and it's going to impact his younger brother, who is really excited, who often walks to school with us to drop his brother off, who says he's going to be a cougar when he is a little bit older. He's been excited for years to go to the same school as his brother, and he's excited too. So that's all I really have to share. You know, I didn't plan to speak when I came in today. I realized a different perspective, I think, was also needed. Long-term residents are very, very important. But new residents are also coming, and I wanted to offer a bit of a rebuttal to the lack of growth potential in the area. I am evidence that that is not true. Single-family homes, they are very old in the area. I bought a home from the 1940s. I am not going to be the only person that's going to be moving into this area close to the schools with children. And that can't be a new problem that's been happening, and solutions are going to continue to come with new people moving into the area.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Teresa Benito y yo sé que uso diferentes cachuchas en la comunidad. Estoy aquí el día de hoy con mi cachucha de alguien que vive en el vecindario, en el mismo vecindario que los estudiantes, la mayoría de los estudiantes van a la escuela en Colombia. A mí me ha tocado ver muchas nuevas familias que llegan a este vecindario y que muchos de ellos están escapando violencia en diferentes países, están escapando pobreza extrema y ven esta comunidad como un lugar donde ellos pueden tener un futuro brillante para ellos y para sus familias. Y hemos podido ver cómo esas mismas familias traen a sus hijos, o ellos mismos todos no hablan inglés, entonces están enfrentando muchas nuevas barreras, y hemos podido ver la gran diferencia que ellos tienen en el momento que ellos tienen contacto con las personas que trabajan ahí en la Escuela Colombia. Es un lugar que ha brindado mucho cariño, como lo pueden ver, las personas, muchos de los maestros que están aquí, maestras que están aquí, hablan desde el fondo de su corazón, y ese tipo de sentido de pertenencia, sentido de cariño a gente nueva, gente que también ha vivido aquí por muchos años, no se ve en todos los mismos lugares aquí en Wenatchee, no se ve. En un lugar donde celebran las diferencias de idioma, de experiencias, como en este lugar que es muy especial. Y hemos visto cómo estudiantes sin saber nada de inglés pueden sentirse parte de una comunidad. El día de hoy me gustaría dar un mensaje a los padres, porque me gustaría decir que me gustaría felicitar especialmente a esos padres que hablan español y a lo mejor no hablan inglés todavía. Me gustaría felicitarlos que están aquí esta noche y que están hablando por sus hijos acerca de sus experiencias. Es muy importante que ustedes estén aquí. Yo he estado en las juntas desde la primera vez que se escucharon estas conversaciones acerca de la escuela, y a mí me ha tocado también estar sentada y ver la jornada muy para mí embarazosa, ¿verdad? De cómo algunas de las interpretaciones que se hacen no están a lo que deberían de ser. Entonces yo, aunque yo puedo entender los dos idiomas, me gustaría felicitar que de cualquier manera siguen viniendo, siguen abogando por sus estudiantes, y los animo a que sí continúen a hacer eso, porque sus experiencias son muy importantes y espero que se sigan sintiendo bienvenidos en estos espacios y usen su voz para compartir sus experiencias. Muchas gracias.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Teresa Benito. I would like to say that I wear different hats in this community. Like today, I am wearing the hat of a neighbor, of a person that lives in this neighborhood. This neighborhood where new families have come in. Many of them are here due to poverty, due to violence in their areas of growth, and they are looking for a new community with a bright future, where their families can flourish. Many of them are non-English speakers, yet they are looking for a great beginning. Columbia is a school that is caring. It is a school that is welcoming with teachers who work from the bottom of their heart, and they give students and families a sense of belonging and caring. This is something that is not often seen, and it's not seen in every school. That is what makes us different. The fact that people can come here, even not speaking the language, not speaking English, and still feel that they are part of the community. The parents may sometimes only speak Spanish. Maybe they don't speak any English, or their children do not speak any English, but yet they come here and they're greeted and they're treated kindly. I've been at these meetings since the first time that they started. And to me, it is very embarrassing that at some of these meetings, the interpretation has not been rendered correctly. Yet, I would like to thank the parents, because despite this happening, parents are continuing to come and speak for their children or speak on their behalf. I understand that the parents are wanting their voice heard, and I would just like to say that I want the parents to continue coming and continue to feel welcomed.
One last check, if there's any.
Nos gustaría revisar si hay alguien más que le gustaría platicar, que quiera dar un discurso.
If you would like to speak, you can still fill out a form.
And Maria Aguilar.
Si te gustaría hablar, todavía hay tiempo de llenar un formulario.
Hello, thank you for having this tonight. I just wanted to start with a few of the successes of Columbia.
It's been such a great small school experience. My kids are actually only there to serve their IEPs and to get special ed services, but it's been so welcoming every time we get there. And there are times when my son is so emotional that he can't make it through the rest of his school day, but he still wants to see his SEL teacher. So I think, and just the fact that they can have the highest growth scores in the region with a population that is highly vulnerable, highly, just highly marginalized, unfortunately. And I'm really concerned about the plan, the written plan that you guys published on capacity issues. Because I see that you're planning to max out Lincoln Elementary with no available classrooms. And I'm wondering, what is your plan for servicing special ed, high cap, other special services? Where are those spaces going to be? And right now, most of those are served in empty classrooms. I also think there is a benefit to smaller schools, as we discovered with the pandemic. And the more kids you have together, the more kids you're exposing all the time, the more people your teachers are getting exposed to. Who knows when our next big illness is coming around? And I'm also concerned about equity, because Lincoln is the only school that you're looking at maxing out. All the other schools, according to that plan, would have more than 100 student capacity and availability. And I think that capacity is important in all the schools, so that if a kid has a poor experience, gets shut in a closet, or gets bullied on a regular basis, that they can transfer out and still stay in the district. I think we need to be looking at other options for cost savings. And as I looked at that written plan, I saw that Lewis and Clark had a lot of empty classrooms. And what about moving Valley Academy into Lewis and Clark? With its empty classrooms, it would be easier for parent drop-off. I've actually been a parent at Valley, and Valley is really hard to drop off and pick up off of Wenatchee Avenue. And that would be a much easier location. It could benefit both schools. Thank you for your time.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Aguilar. Tengo experiencia trabajando en la escuela high school. Mis 3 hijos atendieron al distrito escolar solamente de middle school y high school. Creo que como mamá comparto muchas de su motivación del school board, porque me di a la tarea de leer un poquito sobre cada uno de ustedes y estoy muy orgullosa por que ustedes han sido elegidos. Primero porque creen que la mayor inversión se debe de hacer en los estudiantes entre kinder y el 12º. Yo también comparto esa opinión porque la fundación es el futuro del mundo. Si damos lo mejor a los niños, ellos van a dar lo mejor de ellos cuando sean adultos. Alguno de ustedes soporta mucho al distrito escolar para cubrir sus necesidades y mejorar el rendimiento escolar, para asegurar que su futuro sea, que ellos salgan listos para enfrentar el futuro. Yo como mamá digo, yo quiero tener a mis hijos en este lugar, ¿verdad? Con estas personas que cuidan el valor más importante, que es la educación, la seguridad y y preparar porque van a ser los futuros padres, los futuros maestros, los futuros doctores, los futuros ingenieros. Yo me siento muy feliz siendo parte de la Escuela Columbia, siendo parte del distrito escolar, especialmente sirviendo a mi comunidad, pues me siento que estoy sirviendo a mi comunidad. Cuando veo llegar las primeras caritas de los niños de kinder, tan tristes, con miedo, llorando, tímidos, algunos quizás con comportamientos que no saben expresar su emoción, con comportamientos difíciles, pero como el equipo o como todo el distrito, me imagino que tienen las mismas experiencias en las otras escuelas, no lo sé, pero cómo colaboran todos, desde el principal, las maestras, la consejera, los que trabajan como yo para educators, que pues supervisamos a los niños a la llegada, a la salida, durante el recreo, cómo los niños van obteniendo esa confianza, esa seguridad, cómo ellos van aprendiendo cuando muy apenas pueden agarrar el lápiz y que uno está ahí para ayudarles, para darles esa motivación, esa seguridad, esa confianza en ellos mismos. Y una vez que ellos adquieren la confianza y la seguridad de que están en un lugar seguros, ellos empiezan a dar rendimiento. Ellos empiezan a ser mejores estudiantes. Ellos empiezan, su comportamiento mejora, su aprendizaje, ¡wow!, es brillante. Entonces, por favor, consideren eso. Todos sus valores, es momento de realmente pensar, ¿realmente es necesario cerrar una escuela o hay otras maneras que podemos solucionar? Nosotros como latinos tenemos muchas adversidades en la vida y podemos superar una más, pero por favor, hay que buscar la última manera. Muchas veces como familia, en lo personal, hemos pasado dificultades en mi familia y podemos volver a levantarnos de nuevo. También el distrito puede. Por favor, escuchen las sugerencias de muchos de los maestros que les han dado en las juntas anteriores. Gracias.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Aguilar, and I would like to say that I am part of the Wenatchee School District. This is my third year working at Columbia. I am also a mother. I am a mother of a high schooler, and my three children have gone to the Wenatchee School District. My children have attended middle school and high school, and they have been motivated. They have been taught certain things such as reading, and I would like to let you guys know that I am very proud of our children. I am proud of our children from the age of kindergarten to 12th grade because I feel that that is the foundation for our children. That is the best group of kids that we are training to be the best group of adults. I have noticed that the supervisor of the school district is a very caring person, and they are very focused on our children's future. Most of all, they're invested in the education and safety of our children. They're preparing them to be the future adults. These future adults will be the future doctors, the future engineers, the future teachers. I am very happy to be part of the Wenatchee School District, but I would like to let you know that when I am at school, I greet the children that come to school, and I see their little faces. When they come in, they are sad, they are crying, they are timid. They are going through a number of emotions that they are not yet prepared to know how to handle. But I have also witnessed the school staff. The school staff, from the principal, to the counselor, to the teachers, to the parent educators, as well as the remaining staff, such as myself, who intend to calm and ease these children's anxiety as we teach them that they must feel that they can be in an area where there is trust and safety. These children come in very young. Many of them do not even know how to hold a pencil. Yet we place a pencil in their hand and we teach them through trust and security and safety that they will be able to be a student who will have progress. They become better students. They start to hold a pencil, they start to write, they start to learn. And watching this is amazing. So I want you to really think, is it really necessary to close a school? Are there other ways? Are there other options? As Latinos, we face many adversities. And we are ready to face many more. As Latinos, we struggle. In our families, we have gone through many different struggles. But as a family, we overcome those struggles and we move forward. I feel that the Wenatchee School District can do this as well. So please consider my words when taking your decision.
Marcos Carollo.
Hola a todos y muy buenas noches, tanto a los profesores que están acá presidiendo esta junta, como también a todo el cuerpo que hace vida en nuestra hermosa escuela Columbia, al señor Stuber, director de la misma, y a los demás profesores, maestros, y también por supuesto a cada uno de los padres, representantes y a sus hijitos que están acá con nosotros. Mi nombre es Marcos Carrullo y él es mi hijo Abdías Josué. Además también nos acompaña mi esposa Doraime Reyes. Somos una familia de migrantes, somos venezolanos. Hemos llegado a este país y específicamente a la ciudad de Wenatchee desde aproximadamente año y medio. Y aunque fue doloroso para nosotros, pues porque para nadie es un secreto la dura realidad, la situación difícil, política, económica y social en Venezuela hoy día, fue bien difícil, quiero decir, dejar nuestras familias en nuestro país, abandonar todo por causas de persecución, si se quiere. Nos pasó de todo, gracias a Dios estamos con vida y pudimos llegar finalmente acá. Pero si bien dejamos a nuestras familias, llegar acá a Wenatchee fue lo mejor que nos ha podido pasar, porque Dios tenía para nosotros una hermosa familia y es la familia de la Columbia School Elementary. Y de verdad muchísimas gracias. Estas palabras que quiero referir, quiero decirlas desde lo más profundo de mi corazón. Y quiero dejar claro que recogen no solamente mi sentir, sino el sentir de mi hijo, que estudia primer grado en esta hermosa escuela, y también de mi esposa, por supuesto. Y quiero que sepan también que desde que supimos la noticia del cierre de esta hermosa arca de salvación como lo es la Columbia School, hemos estado llenos de tristeza. Nos ha embargado un profundo dolor, sobre todo por saber que esta escuela, que está cumpliendo 100 años, que aunque se diga muy fácil, no todos los días y no en todos los lugares una escuela cumple 100 años, que por razones que son obvias, que se conocen, que pudieran resumirse en una sola palabra, por números, por presupuesto, sea déficit o no alcance de presupuesto, definitivamente se diga que debe ser cerrada, de verdad que no solamente es doloroso. Para nosotros que venimos de un país como Venezuela, no cabe en nuestras mentes. Cuando mi hijo llegó a casa y nos contó que su amada escuela, donde él llegó a cursar su segundo nivel de preescolar, donde no sabía pronunciar ni siquiera las vocales en inglés, y donde gracias a Dios y a los talentosos maestros que ha tenido, Mrs. John en primer lugar, que lo recibió en su segundo nivel de kinder, y luego su maestra actual, Mrs. Alanis, gracias a ellas, él ya pudiera ser llamado un niño bilingüe, porque además de hablar español, habla muy bien el inglés. De verdad que no cabía o no cabe en nuestras mentes. Y quiero exhortarles en el nombre de Dios que no creo que la solución sea el cierre de esta escuela. No lo creo. No quisiera imaginarme si quienes trabajaron arduamente en el pasado para fundar y dar vida a lo que hoy por hoy sigue siendo esta hermosa escuela, Columbia Elementary School, si estuviesen con vida y escucharan que esa semilla que sembraron y que 100 años después se mantiene en el tiempo, ahora es amenazada, indiferentemente por las razones que sean, de ser cerrada, no quisiera imaginarme lo que pudiera salir de sus bocas enhorabuena. Realmente no es justo. Me parece que pensar y cerrarnos, y he allí, con todo el respeto que ustedes, señores maestros y directivos del Distrito Escolar de Wenatchee, me merecen y nos merecen a todos, no es justo cerrarnos hoy 21 de marzo, que la solución ya está tomada y que a toda costa se cierra Columbia Elementary School porque se cierra. No lo podemos ver con buenos ojos de esa manera. No lo podemos ver sencillamente porque sabemos, y como lo han dicho los que ya me han antecedido en este micrófono, vamos a causar, y nos vamos a incluir nosotros como representantes de esta hermosa escuela, un daño irreparable, irreversible en la vida, no solamente del personal que hace vida en esta institución, sino más aún en la vida de nuestros pequeños. Así que les insto en el nombre del Señor y en el amor de Dios a que trabajemos juntos, y debe haber una solución. Llámese gobierno del estado de Washington, llámese gobierno nacional en las manos del propio presidente Biden, o llámese, ¿por qué no?, la empresa privada, comenzando por la empresa privada de Wenatchee, donde muchos de los presentes trabajamos hoy por hoy. Pero debe haber una solución, y la solución que no sea el cierre de Columbia Elementary School, por favor. Y muchas gracias. Y mi hijo, y con esto cierro, profesora, perdón, quiere decirles algo en nombre de todos los niños que hacen vida en esta hermosa escuela. ¿Qué quieres decir, Abdías?
Please no close the school.
Gracias.
1 minute for translation.
Disculpen, me están recortando el tiempo para dar la traducción, solo quería decir eso. So I would like to summarize by saying that you just saw Marcos here today. He would like to wish you a good afternoon and a good night, and thank you all for being here. He also wants to mention that him, his wife, and his child at Diaz Josue, who you just heard, have moved here from Venezuela. They moved here about 1.5 years ago. They have been very welcomed into the school district, and the school district is a blessing for them, as they are coming fearing prosecution, leaving their country. However, they are here alive and safe, and they are being accepted by the school district with open arms. The school district, which they consider to be a blessing, and a very loving community that welcomed them. When my son came home at Diaz Josue, let me know that his beautiful school, the school which he loves, which has been open for 100 years, is going to be closed. And I could not believe it. I could not believe that because of a budget cut, a deficit, or whatever you want to call it, maybe there's not enough funding, you are going to close the school. It is painful for me as a Venezuelan to come here, and I cannot wrap this around my mind. That this beloved school, where Miss Jones and Miss Alarnese, and I apologize if I pronounce somebody's name wrong, well, we're here to help my child, who has only been here for a short period of time, and is now in the 2nd grade. My child came here as a Spanish speaker, and now he is fully bilingual.
That's all we have time for the phone.
Lo siento, pido disculpas, es todo el tiempo que tenemos, pero me gustaría terminar dejándoles saber que el niño estaba diciendo que por favor no cierren la escuela. rendering a message on behalf of the child. Please do not close our schools.
Jamie Johnson and Bridget Myers.
Good evening. I came in late and I was shocked when I heard the first very eloquent speaker have some incredible points, and I started to clap for them and was told we aren't allowed to clap tonight. And I feel that that was an inappropriate request, because clapping is the silencing of our communities, asking that is silencing our community members, our teachers, and our families that are here to be heard by you. Applause is a normal and expected part of a gathering such as this, and this is not the time to comply with any request to be silenced. This is the time to be loud for our kids, and I encourage the board to have the courage to hear those of us who are kicking and screaming for our children right now. I think that was inappropriate, and I'm very upset that that request was made, and I'm upset that we complied with it.
Hi, my name is Bridget Myers, and I am a parent of a student at Columbia. I also was a staff there, and so these are my people. And I thought maybe, Corey, I would come up and I'd say thanks, because last time I was here, I asked you to apologize. And I feel like within days, there was a communication that was put out by the district to Columbia families saying, hey, this didn't go down well. So I'm not sure how many thank yous you're hearing lately, but thank you. It didn't make this process much easier, but it was the right thing to do, and that's what we do. We do the right thing, and we take care of hearts. So thanks. And for the board members, I didn't prepare anything tonight, but I will for next time, because I am a brave mama. I'm a brave mama. I do things that people think is foolish with my children, like take them back to Africa when they almost died the first time we went. Because I believe in taking risks that are well calculated. And I believe in the power of prayer. That's really why I did that. But I have had 5 kids go through the district. My oldest is 24, my youngest is 10, and attends Columbia. We live down by the hospital, and my student is choiced into Columbia. There is no way I would have let her walk to school about any part of that. When my kids went to Lincoln, they rode the bus. That wasn't a very positive experience, but kids got through it. The bus drivers were great. Just a lot of stuff was happening on the bus that was continually needed to be reported. And so that'll be new for walking students, but we handle things as they come up. But my 5th grader has been begging to walk home, and so I've walked home with her, and I told her after spring break, I'll walk home with her. I have the flexibility to do that and to try to find a good route for her, because it's scary. That's all I'll give you a report. We've walked home and we've seen a kid almost hit in a crosswalk, and we've seen another kid almost hit in a crosswalk. We've seen a kid almost backed up into right in front of Pioneer. So I'll keep letting you know, but it hasn't been good the first 2 times. So we'll see you next meeting. And thank you, board. Please vote no. I don't think that, I'm hearing 2% tonight for the first time. And I've read stuff, and I've seen your documents, and I've listened to comments, and I'm like, 2%, we're talking about 2% to close the school. So I don't think you have enough information, and I'm asking you, please don't close the school.
If there are no more, are there any other comments? Any forms that need to be filled out?
¿Alguien más que tenga un comentario? ¿Alguien más que haya llenado uno de los formularios para poder hablar?
there are no more comments, we will adjourn the hearing for the evening. Thank you.
Si no hay más comentarios, esta junta llega a su final. Gracias.